Croeso welcome back to the latest Fearless in Devotion. I'm joined by Andrew Pollard and Liam Randall. It's been off and on, a pretty packed week. We've had our first game. We played. We're out on the pitch. They've given us some balls. Back in action against Hanley, which is it's a small one of the 7 towns of Stoke, I think it is, isn't it? We went over there yesterday, won 5-1. 2 sort of quite experimental teams, as you may imagine. First off, Liam, it appears that Elliot Lee limped off after 15 minutes. You don't want to see that, do you?
No, I was having flashbacks to the last pre-season when I first saw that he'd gone off injured. I thought, oh Christ, is this another Paul Mullin situation? I mean, from what people are saying, it sounded more like one that was just as a precaution. But that's the one thing I hate about pre-season. You've always just got that horrible feeling in your stomach that someone's going to take a sickening challenge or something like that. I always remember Neil Ashton getting injured. I think it was it Kevin Druid's one pre-season, really nasty head injury. Took ages for an ambulance to cut him off. But no, it sounds like Elliot Lee's okay, so fingers crossed on that front.
Yeah, no, we were hoping. So, right, I think the major news from it is, and we are all sitting down, so that's good. We didn't play 3-5-2. Andrew, it looks like we did a 4-4-2 with Diamond in the first half, and then a 4-3-3 in the second half. Should we read too much into this? Is Parky thinking about having something a little bit different for next season, or is it just that we just didn't have enough fit centre halves?
What a crazy concept of varying things up. It's blew my fragile little mind. I think it's good to have that sort of thing in your back pocket, because we've seen, well, since Parky's been in charge, he very much sticks with 3-5-2, but he will change it up to say a 4-3-3 when back's against the wall, shit's hitting the fan, and we need to get some goals. So it's good to see him going with this in, because I mean, no disrespect to Hanley Town. I did used to go out with a girl from Hanley back in the day, so I'd like to think this was a personal victory, this 5-1. It's a personal insult directed at her.
You absolutely. I hope it ended badly, and I hope you really could rub her nose in it now.
To be fair, it didn't end that badly, and we're still quite friends now, so I feel bad now dissing her. But yeah, balls to Hanley. But no, the point is that this is a game this is a game going into where you'd expect to win. It was almost like a free bet, really. So why not try out a few different things? Mainly the diamond is the one that interested me, because we do have an abundance of very talented central midfielders, and if we can get them in a diamond, that's something to consider. And just mainly the fact that Parky's considering this sort of thing is it's nice to see, because it'll pipe down the ones that like to moan about the rigid 3-5-2 all the time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, as I keep saying, I don't think it is strictly a 3-5-2. I think there's a lot of variation in there. But I do like the idea that, if you're playing Wrexham, you get them scouted, you set yourself up to play against a 3-5-2. Now, even if it's just a threat that we might change formation, it does put a bit in opposing teams' mind that we could spring a surprise, and just to have that in our locker, the ability to maybe start with a back four, I think it's a good thing to have, because you don't have to have it, or it doesn't have to be used, but just there in the background. So yesterday, Tim, it looks like Dobson played at the what would you call it, the bottom, the tip of the four, with
Steady
James
on with your
Jones.
tip, Gilpin. I know where that's been.
With James Jones and academy player Edwards, and then Elliot Lee starting, but were replaced by a guy called Ashfield, who I think, by all accounts, had a pretty good game. Are you sort of happy with that sort of change in formation? And are we reading too much into it?
Can I just say that it was only a matter of weeks ago that I suggested that would Parky be looking into a change of formation, and you royally took the piss out of me. Said there's absolutely no way it's ever going to happen.
I mean, if it happens in a league game, if it happens in a league game, I will put my hands up. But let's not go partridge on me. Needless to say, I had the last laugh. I'm happy. I'm happy he's changing formation. No, I am. I really am.
I genuinely think it was inevitable. I think there's a certain point where being rigid in one formation is only going to get you so far. And I know he's tried and tested with it in most of the clubs he's been at. But I think there's a point now. The game is moving on, and he has to keep up with that. So I think we need to be a little bit clever how we utilize these players we've brought in, because we haven't brought many players in, but they do have the ability to play in several positions. So I think it's interesting that he's trying it out. I would not be surprised to see him continue to test this change in formation throughout the US and Canada tour, and the Fleetwood game. So yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't take a great deal of notice about the game yesterday. I took notice of the scorers. I wasn't in a position to attend yesterday, so yeah, it's a good run out. Momentum is good. Doesn't matter whether it's a friendly, whether it's a league game, cup game, whatever. I mean, winning is a habit, isn't it? Regardless of what it is. So, it's nice to bleed these youth players as well. You know, Harry Ashfield.
Yeah,
you know,
he's by all accounts the standout from yesterday.
He's a big lad. Big
Yeah.
lad. He went to TST as well, so they're blooding that kind of tournament feel, and obviously, you know, they put him ahead really in terms of the fitness in that respect. You know, he's got a few extra weeks, I suppose, than the others. So I just think it's good to have that pathway. We're not getting that many, but you know, they're coming through bit by bit, and as is the news today, and there's been 10 new academy prospects that have put pen to paper. So it'd be interesting to monitor their progress as time goes on.
Got a few comments from Red Passion, people who are at the game. So Rob the Red says, good run out for the boys. The young lads all look good. Ashfield in particular, James Jones and Bolton look good. It was pleasing that Bolton's had a good game. I think if we are going to change formation at all, and we are looking at a 4-3-3, he might become quite vital to that. Jordan with a nice couple of goals. O'Connell looks assured, as did Max. And then people just saying, good to see us try something a little bit different. Ashfield, this is Rob the Red again, looked very good. I actually thought all the young lads really did well. And then another lad's come in on Ashfield. Ashfield looks assured, and Edwards did some nice bits. Dobson looked in control and communicated well. JJ linking up with Barnett down the right-hand side, and Evans doing Evans things. JD looked a lot brighter. All in all, a good run out. Be great if Jordan has a good pre-season, wouldn't it, Liam? And really takes the game by the scruff of the neck again. I mean, I think he's got. We all know he's got the talent. He's stepping up in the league again. It might actually give him more time on the ball, but you know, against a lower opposition like that, Jordan's always likely to show well, isn't he?
Yeah, it feels like it's a bit of a pivotal time in his career, really. At Wrexham, you know, it's sort of do or die time for him. Can he sort of grab things by the throat and force his way into the equation for Parky? We all really want him to. We all want to see the Jordan Davies that we saw the season when he was smashing in 20-odd goals for fun from midfield, that confidence in him, that drive, which I think, particularly last season, you know, the chances where he had a shot and he just didn't grab it by the throat. And I think Luke Young's alluded to it in interviews that, you know, he has got the ability, but we just need to see that extra bit of application from him on the pitch. So we're all rooting for him. So fingers crossed for Jordan this season.
Yeah, sometimes a pre-season or the end of the season can just be a reset, and sometimes people come back in with a clean slate in the pre-season, start it well, and never really look back. I mean, Morel famously said that when he had that golden sort of season, that was all linked to that. He had a good pre-season. He started scoring goals. Dennis Smith gave him a chance in the team, and he never looked back. He was electric that season. Tim, you mentioned the academy players. Is there any? Do we know much about them? Is there anyone in particular that is catching the eye, or is it a case that we just have to sort of wait and see, really? Because you know it's hard to sort of and it's really unfair, really, to sort of earmark someone as going to be the next sort of the next one to break through.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, and you know, given all the recent hoo about the academy, it's nice to see a couple of positive stories come out regarding it, really. But yeah, we don't know. Naturally, don't know a great deal about them at the moment. But there's 10 that have signed up. David Edwards. I'm not going to try and pronounce Nicholas's surname. I'll give it a go. Nicholas Slazajic, potentially.
Oh, okay.
George Cruz.
Youngsters in?
Pardon?
Because there was another name that looked quite Spanish. Do you know if are we getting foreign youngsters in, or are these just sort of lads?
Again, I don't really know. Don't really know. George Cruz, not the rugby player, a slightly different surname. Samuel Chesworth, Oliver McTweed, Tommy Clayton, Casey Bedford, Yuma Nawaz, Joe Reese, and Damien Alaves Almeida. So yeah, I mean, we don't know a lot, but that's kind of the beauty of it, really. It'll be interesting because some of those won't make the grade. Hopefully, the majority of them will. So, full-time scholarships, 2 years. So let's see what happens with that. But I don't know a lot about them yet. But I dare say because of the moves the admin and the media team are making, it's particularly over the close season, I dare say they'll probably start shining a spotlight on these just so we know a little bit more about
They
them.
look very dapper, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's kind of, we're kind of really harnessing this sort of professionalism across the board. You got all of them sort of suited and booted, just
Wow,
pretty decent. I mean, that's usually before it'd just be like, a tracksuit or with their parents, little shiny piece of paper. But it's just, it's nice because, you know what? Let's say that a couple of them don't make the grade, but they go on somewhere else. It's still a nice little thing. Look, this is where I was. This is where I started my journey. It's part of like something really special. So good luck to them, and it'll be interesting to see what happens for sure. But just going back to Jordan Davies briefly, I think I mentioned in a previous pod that when he was at the Gorsel Reds meeting, he basically said, I wouldn't say he was spiky about it, but I think there was an element of frustration where he said he's literally the sort of player that can only produce and perform if he's playing, if he gets regular game time. And you can kind of understand that Parky wasn't really in a position to give him that much game time last season. And when he did he really show enough? Probably not, if we're honest, probably not. So I'm delighted for him. It'll be some sort of nice little kind of full circle redemption story if he does come from nowhere and really stake a claim, because if he doesn't, he's got a decision to make. He said that at the time. He's in those years of his career now where he needs to be pushing on. If it's not here, then unfortunately it'll probably have to be somewhere else.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next topic, I'm just going to do my normal thing of sharing the screen and not ballsing it up. So I haven't ballsed it up. That absolutely looks fine. But that is the code for the newsletter. It's going strong. We had a big influx of new subscribers last week. So thank you very much for that. The introductory offer is coming to an end at the end of July. So you've got a bit of time to get your £15 a year offer. And not when it goes up. Yeah, that's it. So yes, please sign up if you can. It is value for money actually. Liam does a bit of guest writing for us, so get your Liam.
Still owe me a few pints for that.
Yeah, okay, shut up. Get your fill of the Liam Randall, spiky Liam Randall writing on Wrexham is the Game newsletter. Right. We sort of mentioned it there that, well, Tim, you mentioned it, that the academy has actually moved on because we had a bit of a go last week, didn't we? Sort of like saying, look, there's nothing tangible that the club have actually managed to get over the line yet. We're waiting for a cop, we're waiting for a training ground, an academy or centre of excellence seem to have taken a back step, but they signed a head of terms agreement with Darland School. Firstly, Andrew, Darland was always the posh school, wasn't it? Every time we were playing football. So obviously I'm from Panakai, which is an absolute cesspit. But Darland always seemed to be the nice posh one. And I think Liam, you and Tim were Gwersalt, weren't you?
No, I was St. David's. I was, aka Roast Nasty, as it later became.
Okay.
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and I'm a Bucky boy, so I'm Elvid represent.
Oh,
Gwersalt.
Okay.
Gwersalt. Robbie Savage was a couple of years with me. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad taught there. Wrexham's fun.
Taught me PE.
I mean, Grango was, it was an interesting school. It certainly wasn't the land of milk and honey that was Darland. So good that they've signed that up. I wonder how quickly it can swing in. I do also think, is it too late for Category 3 this season? Liam, do you know any more about that? Can they reappeal now that they've got what they think is a site plan, because they can't move in straight away, can they?
Well, my understanding of the current situation was that, in essence, they did have an appeal in after being knocked back. Now, the club terminology is all slightly different on this. They're saying, oh, nothing's been refused. But I think facilities has been raised as an issue. That seems beyond dispute. And the club's hope is that this is going to resolve it. The statement that was put out was sort of trying to make it sound like it was a very, almost a sure thing. I don't know enough about the ins and outs to be able to say that. I think it's good that they've been able to find somewhere to put in place. But I think the main issue for me in all this has been the element where the kids and their parents have been left hanging, essentially, in this sort of limbo where they don't know if they've got somewhere to play next season. And at the moment, that's still very much the case. So I'm just sort of hoping this all gets resolved as soon as possible for their sake more than anyone else.
Well, with just signing on the academy players, it does seem that the club feel that they are moving forward with this, and the influx of people that are coming in, because you take in another 10, you're going to need someone to come through the ranks again next season to take their places as well. So yeah, I really do sort of feel like they're making progress on this. Tim, me and you are heading to North America. We are heading on the plane. Well, I'm heading a week on Monday, and I think you're a few days after that. So the team are actually leaving in the next couple of days. It seems quite a settled squad there now. I can't see them bringing anyone else really in before they step on the plane. Firstly, how are you feeling about the trip to Canada we're going to? How do you feel of it as preparation for Wrexham overall as well?
Well, I mean, first things first is all about ensuring the timing was a lot better than this time last year. That was obviously very well documented, and the kind of the fallout from it, we were caught on the hop, players still over there, everything else. So I think the timing of it is a lot better. Obviously, and panda's not the right word, but we have to, accommodate that audience quite rightly. It's a big pull for the players that we've got and that we've recruited. I think it'll be interesting. The Bournemouth game will be interesting. I think the Chelsea one, and we got pumped by Chelsea last year, didn't we? So
yeah, I was at that game.
Yeah, ultimately, they're good exercises in trying to fashion new ideas, building that squad, making sure that those players that come in gel quite nicely. And again, I think it'll be decent prep, because I think the balance of opposition is probably a little bit better than maybe what it was last year when you're playing your Man Uniteds and Chelsea's and everything else. I mean, it's great on paper. It's a bit glitz and glamoury, but when it boils down to it, sometimes it's a bit of a thankless task, really. So I think with the greatest respect to Bournemouth and the Whitecaps, I think it'll give us a bit more of an idea of where we're at going into the season, what we can look for. And again, it'd be very, very interesting to see whether this possible change in formation happens. I think we're going to see a bit more from the goalkeeper stable as well. I think it's already well saying, well, Arthur's obviously going to be number one and Howard's that kind of like the dependable one. But if the likes of McNicholas is very well fancied, I expect him to get some game time on this tour as well. So yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. It's mad. Everybody, I mean, you've experienced it, but from what I've been told, the fact that if you're from over here, there's some sort of extra kind of like stardust to it. That, oh wow, you've come all the way over here, and I think
you'll be surprised. Honestly, I was taken aback because I did the East Coast last year. I didn't go across to the West Coast, but I did the Chelsea game, and I certainly did the Philadelphia one. And the Philadelphia felt like the big game. That felt like the one that everyone was going to come out for. And I think Vancouver is that game this year. But I mean, I've just met some great people over there. Wayne, Baltimore Wrexham fanatic. Jay was out there. My mate John, who I managed to catch up with. So many people out there, and they just love talking about Wrexham. I sort of feel that, if you're, say, I don't know, Wayne, you love Welcome to Wrexham. You like Wrexham as you know, you like watching the games and you're trying to talk to people about it, like you're trying to talk to your mates, and your mates say, I'm not really that bothered, really, but you're dead into it. So they were driving down to Philadelphia and they couldn't wait to talk just about Wrexham with people from Wrexham who were fans, and it became such great nights, and that's why I was dead set to go over again. And it feels like this one's the homecoming for Ryan. I think he's going to show up just for the match, but you know, you'll be taken aback by how much people really care about the club and how knowledgeable they are. That's the other thing. They absolutely, when North Americans get into something, they absolutely love hammering the stats. They want to know everything about it, and you know, a lot of them know more than the stats than me and you, mate. We might get shown up a little bit. Andrew,
well,
Liam,
I mean, just a quick one on that. You know, I think anybody who's in a position to be able to go to these kind of overseas things, very privileged, and you know, I'm not going to take anything for granted, and super excited by it. Super excited because, you know, everybody speaks so highly of Vancouver and the people, and just to sort of tie it in, really. I mean, you know, these opportunities don't come up that often, so kind of grab it with both hands. And life is too short. And on the back of that, you know, I just wanted to kind of you know, sort of pass on my condolences to the sort of friends and family of Dylan Thomas, big Welsh fan, and Wrexham fan. Passed away 17th of June. Been supporting Wrexham for like over 4 decades. So yeah, another sort of sad, unexpected loss. But for anybody who knows him, his funeral is going to be at the crematorium in Wrexham, noon on the 24th of July, and then a bit of a wake at the Mice Gwyn. So if you knew him, or you need to get in touch with more details regarding Dovon, who was known as Dove to his mates, at Wrexham Mark with a C, not a K. That's one of his brothers. So get in touch and go from there.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely echo that. Andrew, Liam, is it the US trip something you want to do? I imagine it's going to be happening for the next few years at least.
Maybe at some point. I have a totally irrational fear of flying down, which is due to sharks. That's the irrational part. So I'm always hesitant to get onto.
No. Hang on. You won't go to an American tour because of sharks,
dude. Literally, like if I'm flying from say Manchester to Newcastle, it's like, oh shit, what if we crash, land in some sort of water, and there's sharks there? That's what I mean, irrational.
What if you go to Dublin on a boat? You're closer to the sea.
Exactly, which is why I don't really go on boats either. It's I've got all bases covered, Tim.
Are you VA? Are we gonna have to like pass you some sort of burger, and then you'll wake up?
Yeah. I ain't getting no plane. Yeah, it's absolutely not. Yeah, so it's nice on paper, especially the Canada thing, because on the other side of that is, as a man of very few ambitions, well, my one ambition is to move to Calgary, Alberta, Canada at some point. Obviously, the home of Bret the Hitman Hart. So yeah, I need to get over this to get to Canada. So there's lots of things about these tours that appeal to me, but then there's also the strangeness of it all, where it's like, yeah, man, what about the sharks? Yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure Liam's more likely to go than I am. Let's put it that way.
Does this extend to, like, is it sort of all bodies of water, or is it mostly just like when you're overseas? You don't go to Acton Park and
Acton Park.
No, to be fair, I lived in Aberystwyth. Yeah, I lived in Aberystwyth for like 5 years, and 4 of those years was directly on the seafront. It was a great old time, but I never go in the water like past like my shins. It's like, nah, man, I don't trust it. Even though, again, it's the illogicality of it all. I know the logistics of it all. I know the sensible side of it all, but there's just that little thing in my head going like, nah, man, don't do it. Well, if they're waiting there for you, this is the moment they waited for their whole lives. Toothy little bastards.
This has rocked my world. I mean, there's what?
What is rocking whose world there? Somebody got a
Darth Vader. Is that Darth Vader? What's going on? Hello. Is that the Mistrons? Oh,
what's the thing? I am fascinated by him. There's like a little.
I wanted to see if the Jaws theme was going to sort of bring out some sort of post-traumatic.
It sounded like Darth Vader was here more than Jaws.
I just heard a weird vibrating traction and thought, I don't know what Tim's going to pull out here. Literally, probably. Yeah, no. It was
the main thing stopping me aren't marine mammals. It's probably A, my electronic tag's still on for another 6 months, and B, I don't think I'm ditching my family for a US tour. I could always bring them along, couldn't I? You know,
You could, yeah, make it like a family holiday of it. Let's go watch the Reds overseas.
That would be the dream. I would love to do it. I absolutely love. I haven't really been to the US much other than New York, and I would actually like to explore a bit, sort of America more broadly. And Canada is also meant to be awesome. So one day, yeah, I'd love to do it.
Okay, yeah.
Make my dream come true, Andy.
I can't get my head around that you won't go to the American tour because of sharks. I mean, to be honest, mate, if that plane's crashing, you ain't surviving that crash.
I know.
Anyway.
I know all this. I know that, like, the whole, like, the actual crash element of it, the whole, like, burn up of it all. It's like chances are that I'm not going to get to meet Mr. Toothy Bastard, but there's always it's the illogicality of it. I've got like a shitload of books on sharks. Watch a whole load of shark movies. It's like a weird, like, twisted, morbid thing going on. It's like right across me. There's a bunch of Jaws stuff right here, right now. It's part of my job. Last week I was writing about shark films. So it's a weird situation. Yeah. Which is not football related or Wrexham related. So I don't know why I even came into it.
Yeah, Tim, bring us
back
to
reality. I'm going to be sat in that plane now, looking out the window, going,
"Shark."
It's got something about sharks.
Exactly. Yeah. Who'll be listening to Jaws on Spotify then, Mother Hubbard? Yeah.
The film will be the Sharknado or something like that.
Oh, gosh.
Tim, kits. We all know you love kits. You are our resident kit man. What have you heard about the new kit? When's it coming out? What's it going to look like? When can we buy it? Can we buy it on the US tour?
No one's allowed to see it.
Yeah,
you can buy it, but you can't see it.
I don't even know what it is.
You know what? I think last year they kind of got away with the whole pre-ordering thing, because it was like, renew your season ticket and then you have the option to pre-order the shirt with a bit of a discount, although it wasn't a massive discount. So, and because we all knew it was a black shirt, everyone's like, I'm just going to buy it regardless, because it's been that long since we've had a black shirt. Obviously, normally permits you to have one. So, forbids you to have one, I should say. So it's all a bit of a faff, to be honest. And looking at the graphic they put out about the retail news and about the kit, it would suggest that those 3 jaggedy stripes would suggest there's some sort of link to the Deadpool and Wolverine film along those lines. It seems to be obvious. It seems that the kind of goldy color goes with the Wolverine outfit and so on and so forth. So yeah, you can pre-order the kit. You can pre-order the new home shirt from 9 a.m. on this coming Tuesday, July 16th, even though we've yet to see it.
Do you think they're going to put a picture out when you pre-order, aren't they? They've got to put a picture out.
I don't know. You would like to think so, because ultimately the women are going to be wearing it 3 days later. They're going to be wearing it next Friday when they take on SoCal FC, and then men are going to be wearing it against Bournemouth. So you would assume that on Tuesday we're going to see that red shirt in one way or the other. And then next comes the new 3rd shirt, which is the gold kit, launched on the 24th. Again, the women get first dibs on showing this off, which kind of suggests to me that they're going to get quite a prominent position in the next season of the documentary, really pushing it, get the girls to show off the new kits. And why not? 24th, they'll be debuting the gold and black shirt against Portland Thorns Academy. They'll be playing in that on the 26th. So we will see that shirt on the 24th and then played in on 26th. Then the black away shirt, a new black away shirt, it would seem. Not the same black shirt that Andy's currently parading right now, but the new black shirt. That'll be launched August the 1st, and it'll be played a couple of days later in the home game against Fleetwood. That's the way it's going to pan out. I'm kind
of Macron. It's definitely Macron.
I'm excited about the kits, but I'm not sure how. I'm not. What's it again? Yeah, it's Macron. Yeah, 10th season now. I'm not sure how I feel about 3 brand new home shirts again. Like, I know money is money, but if you've got a family and you've got 2 kids and they both want the 3 shirts each, that's a lot of outlay. So it would have made more sense to maybe have 2 new kits, but keep. Do we need another black shirt so soon after last season? Probably not, in all honesty. From an ethical point of view, moral point of view more so. You know, save people 60 quid, 120 quid or whatever, and just do the 2 kits. But there we are. Time and money. And yeah, so we'll hopefully get the first glimpse of the red shirt on Tuesday. Fingers crossed. I believe there was a photo shoot at the turf for most, if not all, of these kits. So that'll be quite cool.
I know that the gold one was definitely the photo shoot at the turf involving certain ex-players, and one of those certain ex-players mentioned it's a very, very nice shirt. They give me too many specifics, but yeah, let's say when he said that, he gave me a £13 note. Yeah, and there was some of the current squad as well there. I believe they're like playing pool in the turf. So yeah, there's gonna be like a little bit of I presume like a nice release video mixing legends of the club with the current day squad. So I'd expect that at some point.
Andrew, you're our sort of pop culture sort of expert. You can tell that by your shelf. How do you feel about mixing a Wrexham kit with a high profile film? How does that sit with you? Do you think it's a bit of a gimmick, or do you think it's something that could actually push shirt sales up astronomically?
I think you can say both at once. I think, yeah, it is absolutely a gimmick, but yeah, the end result is it will push shirt sales. So yeah, it's those things aren't exclusive from one another. So yeah, it's a gimmick, but I mean, we've come to the point now where so much of what associated with the football club could be classed as a gimmick, and we're obviously thriving financially. We're obviously we're off to a tour of America and Canada that says it all, and you talk about the people over there who are now obsessed with this football club. Again, it's everything's with a view on the wider marketing of the club, and this just very conveniently ties in with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine on what I think is the 25th of July. Well, technically 26th of July, midnight, which I'm booked in for the
Just
Odeon.
one thing I was wondering on that is like they've done that little thing with the colours, which Wolverine's yellow, not gold, so that annoyed me.
I didn't want to be that pedantic nerd, especially when I'm colorblind. So it's a risky ground.
Yeah, that annoyed me. But also I wondered, like, other than the fact that the colours are sort of roughly the same, will there actually be any wider theming? Because I've seen some people already getting their asses in a twist about this, and like to my knowledge, you're not going to stick a giant Deadpool badge in the middle of like his face on the middle of it or anything like that. It just seems to me that it's either happy coincidence or deliberate. The colours happen to fit the theme quite nicely, so why wouldn't you make the most of it, really?
Yeah, it's basically an open goal by coincidence, because obviously the release date of the movie was planned several years ago, and it just happens to coincide with our pre-season. Okay, we're going to release shirts in and around this time. So yeah, it is. It's like that open goal there. You might as well go for it. It's a convenient situation that's presented itself there for you.
Yeah, and I think the fact how they're sort of introducing the shirts this year all fits in with the film, I think, because we've had to wait a while. It looks like they'll be sort of unveiled in America. Obviously, the premiere and everything is out there around about the same time. I can see it sort of going hand in hand, and I don't feel that we just got to hope the movie's good. I think that's.
I've heard very good. I've heard very good. They did a screening 2 days ago of the first 35 minutes of the film. And it's kind of got like rave early reviews for those 35 minutes. And the reason it was 35 minutes, obviously, just to cap any spoilers getting out there. It's a very spoiler-laden film. And I'll shut up being a film nerd and let's talk about football. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. Tim, probably our last sort of action of the week. Craig Bellamy as Wales boss. What do you think about it? Do you think it's a good move? And secondly, do you remember? Well, of course you do, but how Craig Bellamy helped us when we really needed it?
Yeah. Decided to leather John Arnorisa with a golf club. But he does speak about that. I think in the Overlap podcast with Gary Neville goes into it at length really, and obviously he was fined. He donated his fine to Wrexham, who were in dire straits. One of many times we were in dire straits, but yeah, facing relegation. So that was a big help. Brought in some questionable players, some good, some not so good. But I digress. Great player, Bellamy. Firebrand, wore his heart on his sleeve. Scored some great goals. I was there when he scored against Italy in that sort of famous win at Millennium Stadium. Divisive, but I think he's he's in a place now where he keeps talking about owning his past mistakes and accepting what he was and who he is now, and he's obviously grown up a lot, got a family. For all the past transgressions, the FAW have had other questionable managers in that post before who have been subject to criminal proceedings, founded or otherwise. So I think you kind of have to draw a line in the sand about it and go, is he the best man at this moment in time? Possibly. I mean, there was murmurs that Thierry Henry was one of many they were looking at, and they were looking at a different face, a different nationality as opposed to somebody being Welsh. But they've got him in early, gives him plenty of time to hit the ground running with the players he's got, to look at the sort of Nations Leagues games, which are coming very, very soon. And I think, you know what, I think he'll be all right. I think he'll do okay. I think he's kind of gone about his business in a quiet fashion behind Vincent Kompany at Burnley and Anderlecht. Everybody at those clubs speaks very highly of him, sort of his level of detail, his sort of willingness to sort of pass on all his experience to the younger players. So only time will tell, only time will tell. But if out and out passion, there's not many people that will have less than him for it. It's just a case of, do we know how much he's learned of the game? I mean, they must have done something right for Kompany to somehow have ended up at Bayern Munich and now Bellamy getting the national team job. So watch this space. But I think after the way the Page years kind of unraveled in the end, it's a clever appointment in the sense that it will get a lot of fans back on board who are feeling a little bit, concerned at the way things were going recently. So I just hope, and I know it has already been mentioned on social media, I just hope that none of the inter-club rivalry, looking at Cardiff and Swansea, has any sort of bearing on a former Cardiff player's appointment. So fingers crossed for him.
I can't see that. I think the key thing for me is getting the right assistant in, someone, a football guy who's really experienced to help him. Bellamy will bring the passion. He'll make the ultimate decisions, and you can tell there's a fierce intellect there. The way he sort of deals with people, the way he answers questions, the way he thinks about things. I can tell there's a clever lad, but I do think he needs someone with more experience around him.
He does. He does, and he knows full well he wasn't the first choice. Ossian Roberts took to social media, said, "Look, I'm flattered that the FAW wanted to speak to me, but I've got this project going on with Como. Just gotten promoted to the Italian top flight. So, he will manage Wales at one point. So Bellamy's big enough and ugly enough to go, I know it wasn't your first choice, but I still want this job. Give it to me. I'm still not sure about these 4-year deals. I think that's a bit crazy to be handing out 4-year deals, but then the nature of international
football. I understand that it's a cycle, isn't it? You've got a World Cup, you've got 2 European chimps in it.
I think that it's just a domino effect of we give Page an extended deal, and obviously look how that turned out. So I think it's just always that slight worry that it might tail off, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I think with the 4-year deal as well, just to jump in, it is a case of we're very much in, I guess, for the longest time, Wales, it felt like we were always in transition, but it very much is that transitional period right now. So if we did give him a 2-year contract, realistically, what could he do in 2 years? When I think 4 years, there is that fear of like, okay, if things go horrendous and we want to get rid of him, we have to pay a nice fee. But I just think it also shows a commitment in the manager. So I'm okay with that one. I think with Bella's, another thing he's got is his standards, which whether he handles that well or not, as in Dean Saunders is a prime example at Wrexham, came in, vast experience, high standards, and by all accounts struggled to connect to players who obviously were nowhere near the level of the player Dean Saunders is. So it's whether how Bella's manages those standards, as in, the players playing right now aren't as good as Craig Bellamy ever was. But yeah, it's one that I think it's a smart move, I think, for that one, especially with Ossian Roberts, like Tim said, as soon as he ruled himself out, and rightly so, because it's to get Como to Syria as the caretaker manager. It's absolutely huge. So yeah, I think Bella's is a nice one, and the passion there. Just you see the interviews he's done already. It very much feels, again, to go back to standards, it feels like when Gary Speed came in, and Gary Speed obviously having the experience of playing for massive clubs like Newcastle and Everton, where it's that top level, and it's just whether we've got the players there to match up to that. But I think Bellamy will give the youth a chance, and it's up to them to prove themselves.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good appointment. I was pretty pleased with that one. Right, any other business before we tie this up? Can I just say thanks to everyone coming on today, especially Tim's new co-pilot, the ironing board, who is like keeping a watchful brief on us.
Taking over from the stag.
I was just thinking, I was going to say moose. I was like, it's not a moose. It is a stag.
I'm at my parents' house, so don't blame me. It's just the stuff I've had to move out the way, including some like very strange looking bears and stuff. And
what
dogs.
the hell is that?
Whoa.
I am. Never mind sharks. That's why I'm.
For the benefit of the tape, we've just seen some really freaky looking. What was it? A doll and a teddy.
Oh, yeah, I've had to sort of put the ironing board.
A doll, teddy, and an ironing board walked into Tim's parents' spare room. It's like a joke there. Wait, I don't know.
Yeah, and then some sort of like Beatrix Potter thing appears.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's your parents. You expect that at a parent's house. Yeah, that you don't expect that. That is haunted by a human soul. Right. I think that's it from us. It's a bit shorter than normal, but we will be back to our normal length next week, and maybe there might be a guest. Who knows? But for now, it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me. And just to check, we did plug the Fat Boar. So if we haven't, Fat Boar's excellent. Go and eat some food there. It's great.
Oh, look, the consummate pro actually coming in after a couple of weeks and then just ironing out our mistakes.
No, I wasn't. I genuinely was like, I don't know if we've covered it or not. So I thought it's throw that.
No, it's always good to second.
I'm no affiliation to the Fat Boar at all.
Get on the Fat Boar Pizza Club every Wednesday. It is immense.
Yeah,
it's immense. I had a Chinese chicken pizza last week. Oof. Insane.
On that bombshell, safe travels to everyone, and keep your eyes on the water.
Yeah.